person to do the probation? Is it one of the 3 individuals that recommended this person for the job? I gotta spend.
I think the Board of Selectmen would certainly be involved in this. And,
Absolutely.
you know, there's no doubt in our mind that if he isn't working out, I mean, after he's on probation, and certainly the
But how would we
director
know
will
that?
have an input, and also the board that we have here. They're going to be there. They have their monthly meetings. I mean, we've charged these people with making a recommendation.
Yes.
They did their job.
Yes, they did.
No matter what we
Yeah.
think right now.
Absolutely.
You know, you're not going to satisfy everybody.
No.
So, the main thing right now, you need the person there. You've proven that, Bob. You said
Yes, we do.
people at time clock,
Yes,
some
we
at
do.
2 o'clock. It's chaos down there. We've got a person that they recommended, that's it. Unless, as they say, that's something that we haven't seen in the files and everything else. And again, and I agree with the 2 o'clock there. If that was the thing, they're all down there going at 2 o'clock, you know. We need the foreman, simple as that.
And I agree, we need the foreman, but, you know, getting back to what John said about the salary and the benefits, it'll be a lot of money, plus you're gonna be hiring someone to take his place.
If it's somebody within it, the benefits are already covered.
Yeah,
covered.
okay, but okay, so the salary part, but you're
But
gonna
not of
hire,
the replacement position.
you're gonna replace the position.
No. The
So that
replacement
person will be
position
salary
is
covered.
already in the budget also. In other words, if this person within gets promoted to the
Yep.
position, this person moves up, the new employee that comes online, because of our insurance savings, we will have enough to pay the medical costs for a new employee down Public Works. We do need manpower down there, but we need qualified manpower down there. And all I'm saying is that the board did the best they can with the information that they were given, and unfortunately, wasn't giving a lot of correct information. And that I'm really, really disappointed as personnel director. Because never mind. It's another personnel issue.
Okay, but you satisfied, I mean, you said that the money would be there to cover this position, plus the person that will be taking his place, and someone from the workforce will be taken out there. That was my concern with, you know.
I don't care what your score is.
Yeah,
The most important thing when you interview a person, I don't care what questions you answer. Some people are excellent interviewers. I look at their past work record. That's what I look at as a priority. I really, really do. And if anybody within that department, like by promoting somebody within my office, which we did when Dee went from one position to another, I knew her work habits, I could recommend her, I could look at her personnel file, and I'm just disappointed that you did not look at in-house personnel files from day one. You should have done that.
Did they have access to it?
Not,
Yes, we
not
should.
even that we didn't have access, because I'm sure if we pursued it, yes, we would have been given access. We were, and not to discredit Dennis or put you on the spot or anything, but we were told the guy had a good record, and what
I would-
assumption would we make otherwise?
Don't speak then, Dennis. If I were you, I would not speak.
Hold on.
Okay, Dennis,
I'm part of the
please.
committee here,
Please,
Bob.
Dennis, you already got a letter from me a
Bob.
month ago.
Excuse me.
Dennis, I said don't speak. Yes, John.
John Leon, 7 Applewood Drive. Mr. First Selectman, respectfully, I say, it seems that there's been a tremendous lack of communication here. But it seems to me, sir, that the office of the Director of Personnel shares a responsibility in that lack of communication. Because this comment that you made about the committee selection being at the time clock at 2 o'clock in the afternoon is very disturbing to us. And certainly if we individually or the committee had known about this, it seems to me that if the office of the Director of Personnel knew about this, that certainly would have had an influence on the committee's decision. But it was not imparted to them, just as you may believe that the director did not impart information to the committee, so too did the office of the Director of Personnel failed to apprise the committee of any negatives. And it seems to me that if the director knew of negatives about this, it was the responsibility of the office of the Director of Personnel to notify the committee so that they would know and would not be embarrassed in this position. Thank you, sir.
Good. Any other comments?
Well, just to
From the board
rebut
members.
that, in his defense, because of the application situation, he couldn't be involved in the process. That's, he had no ability to get involved in that.
I don't think, Mr. Lena, I can speak for myself, I didn't know who any of our candidates were. So I don't think, besides Yashu, and correct me if I'm wrong, was the only one on this board who knew any of the candidates was. So if Bob knew that Mr. Stevens was at the clock, I'm sure he would have been able to tell Mr. Rosen or the board, the candidate board. who was there.
Madam, there's been a tremendous lack of communication here, and everybody shares the responsibility in it.
Absolutely.
And I don't think it helps anybody to be putting the blame on anybody else. There's been a lack of communication, and the committee, if there were negatives, and they were known, they should have been, the committee should have been apprised of those negatives, because assuredly, that would have been taken into consideration because their work was very thorough. So nobody looks good in this. There's been a tremendous lack of communication.
Okay, what's the
And-
board's
If I
pleasure?
may,
What's the board's pleasure?
Excuse me, I see the...
Yes, Dennis.
I think he should have the right to speak.
if I may, based on the scenarios that I've been hearing this evening, I will have to tell you in all honesty, negatives and positives have been brought out on all individuals that we were totally aware of. They were brought out to the committee, they were discussed, and based on the performance of the interview process and the scoring, that was the decision made. But as you were saying, yes, negatives and positives on all individuals were brought out. Thank you.
Okay, well, what's the board's pleasure?
Well, since I was on that committee, I'll make a recommendation to approve or appoint Craig Stevens to this foreman position.
I'll second it.
Union or non-union?
It's a union job, that's the way it's written.
Non-union.
It's a non-union job, that's the way
Yeah,
the,
non-union.
Non-union job, offer him the non-union job
that's
at
the way it's written.
$60,000 a year,
That's the way it's written.
okay?
That's what we interviewed for.
Okay. We won't,
Oh,
at
just
this...
one more.
Yes. Do I have a second?
I have said.
Motion made and second. In 2003, we went through this same process to hire a director, and all I could say is that there was many candidates that applied for the job because I was chairman of the civil service. And because I had a relative that applied for the job, I got to step down. The most qualified individuals, two of them at least, did not even get called in for an interview. So I mean, maybe that's why I'm a little up today, and plus I'm a little up because this individual didn't even sign up for this position until the union made me post it down on the board. The time period was already up and I extended it. And I really didn't have to do that. I really didn't have to post it down in Public Works because it was a non-union position. So, it just, from 2003, it left a bad taste in my mouth, and it just continues. And seeing that 2008, it hasn't got much better. So.
I got a question. Number 8 says recommendation. It doesn't say take action. Should it say take action?
No.
Okay.
Recommendation from the Board of Public Works
I
for
just,
foreman's
just wanted to
position,
get
yeah.
caught in something that, if it doesn't-
This is their recommendation, and we can make a motion on their recommendation.